Sing for me, sing for me. You can come with me, you can live with me, heal my soul.
Un anno è passato da Graceful Drawing e dall'uscita di questo album, praticamente quasi un anno, nel quale tu hai fatto un tour, hai registrato varie canzoni, hai lavorato anche sul catalogo dei King Crimson. Come è nato questo album? È nato durante il tour?
It's actually more than a year. It's Graceful Drowning came in September 2011, so it's a year and a half.
Yes, okay, thank you. Sorry.
Now, in the 70s and the 80s, that would have been normal.
Okay. Yeah.
But I appreciate what you're saying. It's because I've done a lot of other things too. The Storm Corrosion album came out in May. King Crimson, Jethro Tull reissues, and the touring. The thing is that when I went on tour with this band for the first time, which was October, November in 2011, I very quickly realised that there was something special about the chemistry of the musicians I was playing together with. And I wanted to write very quickly while the feeling of playing with those musicians was still fresh. So I went home that Christmas after the tour, and I wrote Luminol, the first track on the record, which actually we played on the next tour. We did Luminol with those musicians in my mind, specifically for those musicians to play. And I spent about 3 months writing for that band, the material on that record, I would say between January and March 2012. And then we went on tour again, and in the meantime I'm working on King Crimson and Jethro Tull too, yeah. But I'm writing this album. The recording was very quick. It was 1 week. We recorded the album pretty much live in the studio.
Yeah, quite live in the studio, yes.
In Los Angeles in September. So actually it wasn't a big amount of time.
Yeah.
To record the album. It took a few months to write the album, but actually this album, they don't always come so easily. This album was quite easy in terms of conceiving, writing, recording and mixing. It was a very easy record, which is why it has come so quickly after Graceful Drowning.
Durante l'ascolto dell'album si percepisce l'alchimia che c'è tra te e strumentisti, musicisti che suonano con te. Com'è stato suonare con persone come Marco Mineman, Nick Becks al basso, Katri Cohen alla chitarra?
Yes, it's extraordinary to play with them. I mean, the thing about my solo band is that the guys are so good. I think they are probably, amongst the best in the world at their instruments right now. They're so good that it actually has liberated me in 2 ways. Firstly, I can write music for these guys way above in terms of what I've ever written for myself or I've written for perhaps some of my other bands. And the second way it's liberated me is it's kind of freed me to be more of a musical director, more of a frontman in a way, more able to be like a singer, rather than having to play guitar so much, And I still play a little bit of guitar and I play a little bit of keyboards, but I'm not the guitar player.
No, yeah.
I'm not the keyboard player.
Yes.
Okay. I'm the singer, and it's my band. And in a way, I think that's what I always wanted, really. When I started dreaming about being a musician when I was a teenager, I always thought of myself as a producer, writer. I never wanted to be a guitar player. I never really wanted to be a musician at all. I wanted to be someone that made records. And in a way, this has been finally my opportunity to be that person. I mean, my heroes when I was a kid were people like Frank Zappa, Roger Waters, who always worked with musicians that were better than they were, but they were the ones that always had the idea. And I think that's what I wanted to be myself. So finally I'm able to be in that situation.
Ok.
Ci parli di due canzoni dell'album, di cosa parlano, di The Watchmaker e The Holy Drinker.
Or just picking up on that, this is the first time I've ever recorded an album with musicians playing live in the studio. Usually the way I usually make records before now is the drummer comes in, you do the drums, you send the drummer away. The bass player comes in, you do the bass, you send the bass player. But which gives you a lot of control, but you lose a lot of the excitement and the electricity. So what you're picking up on is the fact there's this kind of electricity, and I think that does come from the fact that the band were all playing live together in the studio, which is it's a very new thing for me. It's not new for a lot of bands, but for me it's new, and I think you can hear the difference that made. Those two pieces, Holy Drinker and Watchmaker, and also I would say Luminol 2, for me are like short stories in music. They tell us, even without the lyrics, if you even take the vocals away, they still have a sense of telling a story through the way the music evolves and develops. And I like that. And in fact, it was because of that, because I wrote Luminol and The Watchmaker were the first two things I wrote for this album, I felt that they had, even before I had an idea of what I wanted to write the words about, I felt already they had a sense of telling a story. And so that kind of took me down the path of making the album based around these short stories. And The Holy Drinker is about a guy who challenges the devil to a drinking competition, and he loses and gets dragged down to hell. And The Watchmaker is about an elderly married couple who have been together for 50 years, but they don't love each other, and they never did. And it's that idea of how sometimes relationships can be about convenience, not about love, just about it's easy to be with someone. And actually there is something very sad about that, to get to the end of your life and realize that you've been with someone that you don't love and you never did, but it was just easy to be with them. So it's that whole sense of regret, what could have been, what should have been, and the album has a lot of that in it, about the idea of regret and loss.
So, l'ultima canzone dell'album, perché il corvo non vuole più cantare? The Raven Refused to Sing.
It's another story based on, or it's another short story based on another short story about. It's about an old man who, when he was very young, was very close to his young sister, but his sister died in childhood, and he never recovered from losing his sister, and he never ever formed a relationship with anyone else his whole life. He's now a very old man, very sad, very lonely old man, and a raven starts to visit his garden. And for him, the raven becomes a representation, a manifestation of his dead sister. And when he was very young, his sister would sing to him to make him feel, if he was afraid of anything, his sister would sing and it would calm him down. So the raven becomes like a symbol for him of his sister. And he feels that if he can get the raven to sing to him, then it will prove to him that this is the return of his sister.
It's really
a beautiful story. Yeah,
beautiful story and a beautiful song. Beautiful song. What you want?
Hi, this is Stephen Wilson, and I'd like to say a big hello to all the readers of SOund36 website. Enjoy.
Thank you very much.